What kind of mucosa types we can find in the oral cavity? We can find three kinds of mucosa. We can find the masticatory mucosa, lining mucosa, and the special mucosa. It's very important because it will be also exam question. So basically, the masticatory mucosa is keratinized or can be parakeratinized. What does it mean, keratinized? So in this case, the cells have lost their nuclei. The cytoplasm has been displaced by large number of keratin filaments. So a lot of keratin filaments you can find here. And the surface of the gingiva and the palate is usually keratinized type, so masticatory type. This mucosa is much more resistant against different kind of biting forces, and it's where the mechanical effect of the hard foodstuff. Where we can find masticatory mucosa? What do you think? So we can find on the hard palate, for example. Also we can find on the gingiva. The gingiva can be found on the upper and lower arch if the patient has no teeth. Or if the patient has teeth, we can find the gingiva around the teeth. It has a marginal gingiva and the gingiva propria. Basically, if you see these areas, the hard palate is rather keratinized and the gingiva is parakeratinized, okay? These are the most important information about the different kind of mucosas. The masticatory mucosa is quite fixed. If you see, it's not movable, not the same as like the lining mucosa. If we compare it, the submucosa is differently organized in case of the lining mucosa. The lining mucosa is cover all soft tissue, all soft tissue of the oral cavity except the gingiva and the palate, okay? The epithelium is non-keratinized in case of the lining mucosa. It's also stratified squamous epithelium. The lamina propria contains the typical collagenous, elastic and reticular fibers. So it's movable. Not so fixed, not as fixed and as the masticatory mucosa. So think about the hard palate. If you see it, if you try to move it, it's non-movable, absolutely stable. The lining mucosa is smooth and shiny. You can find many times salivary glands, small salivary glands in the lining mucosa, which make the surface wet and cover it with saliva. Less pigmented than the skin epithelium, it's very important. It's mainly can have various color from the light pink to the darker pink or red. If you think about the lips, inside your lips, it's quite red. But if you think about your cheek, inside it's rather pink because it depends on the blood vessels, how many blood vessels can be found there. Submucosa associated with most of the lining mucosa, loosely organized, allows free mobility for the mucosa. When you're eating, when you swallow, when you're speaking, it's necessary it have to be mobile. But the gingiva and also the hard palate, so the masticatory mucosa have to be fixed because the eating and chewing effect, this is very important, not to be mobile. Let us see where you can find lining mucosa. So we were talking about the masticatory mucosa you can find in the gingiva. So basically the dental arch is covered by this gingiva and also the hard palate. But the lining mucosa you can find in case of the lip, the vermilion border, the soft palate, ventral surface of the tongue, cheek and floor of the mouth. So these places covered by lining mucosa. I don't want to talk about all these regions, okay, because the topic of this seminar is the tasting and the gustation. And the third kind of mucosa is the specialized mucosa of the tongue. So it's not masticatory, not lining mucosa. And it covers the dorsum, so the superior surface of the tongue. Because the posterior, so the other surface, the ventral surface of the tongue, is covered by lining mucosa, okay? And the dorsal surface is covered by specialized mucosa. It's specialized because you can find special papillae of the surface. Basically, the tongue has two parts, the pars papillaris linguae and pars follicularis linguae. And between them you can find the sulcus terminalis. This is the border. And the connective tissue under epithelium binds the mucosa to the underlying skeletal muscle of the tongue. So these are the parts of the tongue. The apex linguae is the tip of the tongue. The corpus linguae, basically the body of the tongue. Radix linguae, where the folliculae you can find. This is the inner side of the tongue. Dorsum linguae, where you can find the specialized mucosa. Margo linguae, basically the marginal part of the tongue. Sulcus medianus linguae, it's the midline of the tongue. You can see a fissure in the midline of the tongue. This is the sulcus medianus linguae. At the end of this sulcus, you can find the foramen circum, which is a deep pit in the midline of the linguae. And also you can find the sulcus terminalis, which divide two parts of the tongue. Structurally, the first part is the pars papillaris linguae, the radicular, so the back part is the pars follicularis linguae. Let's talk about the different kind of papillae. What kind of papillae we can find on the tongue surface? If you see on a mirror your tongue, you can recognize these. But I will show you some histological picture, so some microscopic picture and some cross-section picture, histological picture about these papillae. So we can find four kinds of papillae: filiform papillae, fungiform papillae, foliate papillae, and circumvallate papillae we can find. Let's talk about each papillae. Most numerous papillae is the filiform papillae. These are pointed keratinized projections formed by overlapping sheets of surface epithel. I will show you a picture, okay? Wait a little. So, why is it important? What is the function of this filiform papillae?
Square.
Basically, it's make a rough surface. It's produce the roughness of the tongue. So you can swallow the food parts and basically the food stuff easier. You can move the food stuff with the help of the tongue because it makes it rough surface. Not associated with taste buds, so you cannot find receptors in this papillae. You can find in the anterior part fungiform papillae, fewer fungiform papillae than filiform papillae. You can recognize them because 2 mm diameter, rounded elevations. They have smooth surface, not keratinized, can contain taste buds on their superior surfaces. It's very rare, but can contain some receptors. They're not keratinized. Foliate papillae located basically the margo linguae. 4 to 11 vertical fissures containing to the foliate papillae may be lined with taste buds. A lot of receptors you can find here. So the two margo of the tongue, it's about 1,500 taste buds can be found. The largest papillae are the circumvallate papillae, located at the junction of the anterior 2/3 and the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Each member can be so it's different the number. From 8 to 12 papillae can be averagely larger than the fungiform rounded elevations. No project above the surface of the tongue. Taste buds line the lateral walls of the papillae, and each circumvalent papilla has basically between 250 and 300 taste buds in every papillae. Serosus glands open in the fissures surrounding the papillae. It's important. Serosus glands, okay, can be exam question. So we have to talk about the gustation. Organ gustus is the Latin name of basically the tasting system. Mainly the tongue can be found receptors of the gustation, different kind of receptors. These are the taste buds, or the other name of the taste buds, these tasting glands receptors, the caliculus gustatorius, the other name. Together, 4,600 taste buds can be found in the human oral cavity, but not all of them it's located on the tongue. Where we can find, basically we can find mainly in the papillae. So the circumvalent papillae has around 300. The foliate papillae you can find 1,500. And also some of them can be found in the fungiform papillae, and other localization of the taste buds it's important. Okay, right down, because can be a test question, and also if you write test and exam question. You can find in the pharynx, soft palate, and epiglottis also these tasting receptors. So let's talk about the taste buds. These are the taste receptors. Basically, 50 between 70 micrometer diameter receptor structures contains modified epithelial cells. They are onion-shaped structures, and basically one taste bud is built up from 40 between 50 cells. These cells can be the first type cell. This is the dark cells. 80% of the total cells are dark cells. You can find different kind of structures, microvilli, Golgi apparat, and endoplasmatic reticulum in these cells. The second type cells are the light cells. So 15 of the total cells of these three type cells. And the third type cells, 5% of the total cells, they contain neurotransmitters. And the fourth type cells are the undifferentiated cells. These are the basal cells. You have to sign this, okay? This kind of cells. I will show some picture about it, okay? The taste buds. So this is the taste bud. These are the papillae, for example, a circumvalent papillae, and in the fissure of the circumvalent papillae, you can find here in the epithelium of the circumvalent papillae the taste buds. So this is the structure of the taste bud. You can see the dark cells and the light cells, basal cells, and also the neurotransmitter cells. And there is a taste pore where different kind of taste and chemicals can flow in with the help of the saliva, because the saliva saw it and can flow here, and these cells will examine these foodstuffs. I go back a little bit. You can see the structure of the tongue. So here you can see different kind of papillae. For example, the fungiform papillae. And you can see the circumvalent papillae and the foliate papillae. So the margolinguae, it's the location of the foliate papillae. Okay. So in front of the sulcus terminalis, you can find the circumvalent papillae. The filiform papillae, rather the anterior part of the tongue, can be found, and also the fungiform papillae you can find here. So this is a cross-section picture about the papillae of the tongue. So these large papillae are the circumvalent papillae. These small projections are the filiform and the fungiform here. It's visible. So different kind of papillae with electronic microscopic picture can be visible. Circumvalent, foliate papillae. And the fungiform papillae is this, and around you can see filiform papillae. also a cross-section of the filiform, it's A, and B, the fungiform papillae. This is the circumvalent papillae cross-section. And the TV, it means the taste buds. You can find here the taste buds. Basically the deepest point, almost the deepest point of the fissures around the circumvalent papillae. This is the fungiform papillae, and sometimes you can find taste buds also in the fungiform papillae. Now it's on this picture, it's very good, so you can see it's absolutely visible, the taste buds, location of the taste buds. This is a picture of about the fungiform papillae. Here are with the filiform papillae. You can see because of the structure of this filiform papillae, the tongue is very rough surface has. Some patient has no papillae. There are some illnesses. For example, we will talk about it in case of the vitamins. The lack of, for example, the vitamin B12, the B6, it's also means depopulated tongue. In this case, no taste, not exactly you can move the food stuff with your tongue, and it's painful. Sometimes the burning mouth syndrome, it's also connecting with the depopulated tongue. So you can see the structure of the tongue. This is the sulcus medianus linguae here, the midline. This is the sulcus terminalis, and in front of it you can find the pars papillaris linguae, and behind of them the pars follicularis linguae. Some taste buds. Here also you can see the dark cells and the light cells. Taste buds in the fungiform papillae, and this is the taste bud. If you see the cross-section, the histological cross-section of the taste buds, also it's visible the dark cells and the light cells. The B is the dark cells, C is the light cells, C will be the four-type basal cells. How is it going on, and what is the mechanism of tasting? How we analyze different kind of foodstuffs and chemicals? Basically, if we eat salt, the sodium ions will cause depolarization and will cause the neurotransmitter release and increase firing of red nerves. Okay, so the sodium ions will cause the depolarization. If we eat some sour chemicals, or for example just eat sour cherry, lemon, and so on, the hydrogen ions will cause the depolarization. And if we eat some sweet, in this case the carbohydrates, there are some carbohydrate receptors, and if they pick the carbohydrates, they will produce CIMP, and after it will happen depolarization. The bitters also can be a lot of kind of chemicals, but basically always in the cells, in the taste bud cells will be a depolarization, will be calcium influx, there will be transmitter release and increased firing of afferent nerves. How will these cells analyze different kind of chemicals? There is a taste pore, if you see here. There is a small gap, a small hole where basically the salt, the saliva salt chemicals can go inside, and these cells will analyze it. The tongue has basically a map. Basically you will heard about it. Mainly we can feel the sweet on the anterior part of the tongue, the sour also the anterior part, and the bitter we can feel rather posterior part of the tongue. And this is the nerve system of gustation. So the fifth nerve, dorsal lingual area, heat, nociceptive and fiber gives. The chorda tympani also, so from the number 7 nerve, from the chorda tympani, tasting fibers coming to the tongue. So the nervus glossopharyngeus, the nerve number 8, gives tasting, heat nociceptive fibers towards the tongue. The nervus valgus gives tasting fibers to the radix linguae. And the nervus hypoglossus, this is the motoric nerve of the tongue. So you have to sign these nerves, okay? These are the most important in case of the tongue innervation. Yes? Any question about it? Papillae, which are important, the papillae, okay, the structure of the papillae, the location of the papillae will be question of the exam, okay? The mechanism of tasting, okay? In case of the salt, the sodium ion, the taste of the sour, basically the hydrogen ion. In case of the sweet tasting, will be important different kind of carbohydrates, okay? And also the bitter tasting can be different kind of chemicals, many kind of chemicals. And we have one tasting quality. What are the basic taste? So we can feel sweet, salt, bitter, sour, and something else. Umami, yes, that's right. What does it mean, umami? It's a good question.
Tomatoes, yes, something with tomatoes.
Basically, it's the tasting of different kind of proteins. Yes, proteins. When you eat meat, basically, if you eat a meat, different kind of meat, it has no a special tasting. If you remember, it has a special tasting. So some protein causes the umami sensation, and also can be sensation of different kind of ions. If you, for example, drink water, the taste of the water, it's everywhere, it's a little bit different, you know. It depends on the ions. Okay, so the structure, not the structure, basically what kind of ions you can find in the water, it gives special tasting of the water. But basically the main tastings are these. So the umami, bitter, sweet, salt, and sour. I'm going to show you some picture about the oral mucosa, okay? So please attention, it will be maximum 5-10 minutes, okay? And after we finish it. Just I would like to show you some picture. So here you can see the oral mucosa. This is the healthy oral mucosa. If you see it's pink, not reddish. If somewhere it's reddish and it's swollen, that means we have a gingivitis, okay? So can be the patient a lot of block, can be the patient can have a lot of stones, calculus, okay? So it's a healthy situation which you can see. This is the gingiva around the teeth and it has two parts, the gingiva marginalis. You can see this line, the gingiva marginalis is around the teeth and the gingiva propria. And also you can see the hard palate and the soft palate. You can see the border between them. The soft palate is movable, the hard palate is fixed. It's very important to know where is the border, because if you make a total denture, you cannot extend it to the soft palate, okay? If you extend it, the patient, for example, speak and when speaking it will coming down because it's movable. You can see the uvula and also the arteries polatoglossus and the tongue. What is this? What is in the midline?
The sulcus medianus linguae.
That's right.
Sulcus.
That's right. Sulcus medianus linguae.
You can cut it to two, and then you have a tongue with it.
So also the sulcus medianus linguae is visible in the hard palate. What is this? This is the ventral surface of the tongue. What kind of mucosa can be found in the ventral surface of the tongue?
Papillae. taste bud.
No,
That's
ventral surface, not the dorsal surface.
Salivary glands.
You can find, yes, some salivary glands, but rather what kind of mucosa is on the ventral surface? Lining mucosa. Lining mucosa, that's right. It's non-keratinized. It's very important. What is this? This is the hard palate and also the gingiva. It's keratinized. And if you see, not exactly mucosa. So the collagen fibers are very good organized in case of the hard palate and the gingiva. And it's very fixed, not movable, not the gingiva and also the hard palate, it's not movable, absolutely fixed. What is this here? Can you tell me what is this? This is the alveolar wall, and you can see here basically the tube. And what is this gap here? Sulcus, yes. You have to see the sulcus, especially periodontology. And every time when you examine a patient, the sulcus is very important. Not to be the patient pocket. If the patient has pocket, the sulcus is deeper than 3 millimeter. It's very important. And if the marginal gingiva, because this is the marginal gingiva, it's swollen, you can think about subgingival calculus. It's not visible every time. You can see the palate, the papilla incisiva, the rugae, and also the palatina raphe. These are also very, very fixed and keratinized, these areas and these structures. And also the hard palate has a fatty area, and the soft palate has a glandular area where you can find a lot of salivary glands. So this is the soft palate, the cross-section of the soft palate. What kind of mucosa it's covered, the soft palate? Can you tell me?
soft palate?
Yes.
No, masticatorial, but this also lining.
Lining mucosa, that's right, lining mucosa, okay. Not masticatory because it's not
Masticatory only
there.
on the other palate.
If you see, this is the oral epithelium, it's not so wide, it's not keratinized, it's not keratinized, but you can find also taste, so salivary glands. This is the lip. So the lip is very important. Okay, what kind of mucosa can be found on the surface of the lip inside? Also lining mucosa. You can see this is the marginal gingiva, and you can see the sulcus. Where is the vermilion border?
The lip.
Yes. Can you determine it exactly?
Change when I change the
Red zone, red zone.
Yes, the mucosa and the epithelium. Okay, the mucosa and the epithelium. So it's around here. You can see here. So from the vermilion border, we has a lining mucosa without any kind of keratinization. Okay, it's important. The cross section of the tooth. What is this part of the gingiva? What's the name of the gingiva? It's not attached. The free gingiva. What's the name of the free gingiva? You can see here also. This is the marginal, gingiva marginalis, okay? Gingiva marginalis, sign this, okay? Because under it, the fixed attached is the gingiva propria, okay? Gingiva marginalis and gingiva propria. So this part is the gingiva marginalis, and under it the gingiva propria. What kind of mucosa is this? The gingiva.
Non-keratinized.
Again?
Non-keratinized?
Not exactly, it's parakeratinized, okay? Parakeratinized, okay? And masticatory mucosa. Masticatory mucosa and parakeratinized. Non-keratinized exactly. Keratinized is the hard palate. Yes, this is the free gingiva basically. This is the marginal gingiva. What you can see here. So this is the border. Now it's visible the border between the gingiva propria and the gingiva marginalis. Okay. Basically, if you dry the surface of the mucosa, you can see this border, the border of the free gingiva and the propria gingiva. Okay. of them are parakeratinized, okay?